Say shouts out on this morning to all of our brothers and sisters out there in social media land. This is indeed a great day to be alive. This is the day that the Most High Heavenly Father have made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. We're going to begin to tie up the ends of our latest series that was titled I'm in Love with the Demon. And hopefully that things are being made plain enough to the brothers and sisters to be able to comprehend what it is that we are saying. And we always give brothers and sisters the opportunity to chime in to the video anytime you hear something that you might not fully understand what's being said. And we will reinforce this once again, that every lesson or everything that's taught is not always learned when it's taught. So sometimes you can hear things today that are unable to be received, and they will manifest themselves later as truth when we comprehend it. And so while we are moving together, we want brothers and sisters to know that it's all right to ask questions when you hear something that you don't quite understand. Going into this final message on today, this is going to be a crazy message. I can tell you right out the gate. This is going to be a crazy message. I'm going to see if we can get a few brothers and sisters on the line. Shouts out to you this morning, big sis. I hope all is well on your end of town. And so we're just gonna pull up and see if we can get these scriptures pulled up and find us a good starting point. It's not going to do people any good when you can point out the root causes of a particular thing, or you can show people what the stumbling block is or what's behind it, if you're not able to come with a solution and show people that there is a purpose. Even when it comes to falling in love with the demon, there is a purpose behind it, because the Most High Heavenly Father, He is the one that has control and lords over every situation, even unclean spirits. And I'm going to take the time to prove some of these things. Let's pull up a passage right quick. And see if we can bring some clarity to some of these things. There's the iron fist, the iron thumbs up. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to give you some examples. Let's give you some examples. Now, we understand that the wisest man in the world, the wisest man that was ever recorded in the Bible, you got to ask where his wisdom came from. And if you can't identify with the fact that when you fall in love with a demon, then guess what? You won't be able to receive the wisdom that comes from being in that situation or that circumstance. and quiet as it's kept, somebody has to be there for the sake of those who have been ensnared by demons. So let me give you an example that the Most High has a purpose for everything. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22. I'm going to give you a couple of examples before we get started up. And brothers and sisters that are on the line early, you'll be ahead of the game because you'll be on with some of these things. Brothers and sisters that come later won't. 1 Kings 22nd chapter. We're going to walk through this. Yeah, we're going to walk through this right here. And maybe I won't get as excited, but I can't make no promises. 1 Kings 22nd chapter, we're going to begin reading at the, let's see, 21st verse. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're going to start reading at verse 20. These are just some examples of even when we confess that we have fallen in love with demons, we know that what we're dealing with is the underlying sins that are in our life. Those sins are being connected to our flesh by demons. So to confess that you have sin is simply to confess that at this moment in time I have fallen in love with a demon and it's causing my flesh to do things that are against the Most High. Well, when we first started up the videos, I said if I asked 100 people if they were in love with a demon, I said 99 of the 100 would say no. And you may have one who will be able to identify or comprehend what was being said. And so when we first started up the video, when I asked all of the brothers and sisters if they loved demons, we got no response at all. But as we start moving forward into the videos and we start making brothers and sisters understand that whatever sin it is a demon behind it, then brothers and sisters was able to start identifying with it. Yeah, I've fallen in love with a demon. And so basically it was anything that was pleasurable to our flesh that we found ourselves unable to detach from. Then you know we had fallen in love with a demon. Just the same way if a man falls in love with a woman, that's no good for him. You see, he's unable to detach himself from that woman, no matter, in spite of the fact that she may mistreat him, or vice versa, a man for that instance, in spite of the fact that they may not treat you like they supposed to, they may cause you much heartache, much pain. It's nevertheless because you have joined yourself to a thing in the flesh and it's pleasurable to you, you find yourself unable to detach from it. And to detach from it causes us to have a level of fright, because now the life is going to enter into a place of depletion, because you've taken something away from me that I love. And when you love something, there is nothing that can replace it. And this is why you can't just do away with a broken heart or a heartache. When you're in love with somebody and they walk off and leave you, you can't just get over a heartache. Ain't no other woman gonna do. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing that you can do that's gonna replace something that you love. And it's the same way when it comes to certain sins that we encounter in our life. So it's a good thing to be able to see brothers and sisters come to the place to where they can make that open confession that they have fallen in love with the demon. Now, when we start dealing with demonic possession or sin, demons are far more superior than mortal men. And so only the Most High can break the back of a demon. And so you have a passage in the book of James that says, count it all joy, my brothers, when you find yourself falling into diverse temptations or different situations that hamper the flesh. Count it all joy when you find yourself falling as a victim to demons, because through this process, your faith in God is going to be tried. And either the Most High is going to allow you to be destroyed, or the Most High, through your faith in Him, will bring you through there and subdue that demon, his own self. And ultimately, we want brothers and sisters to understand, because one of the things that we have is we have a problem with judgment. And we have a problem with judging people for where they at different moments in time, failing to understand that the thing that holds people as captives is far more superior than them. So don't just have the, man, you just need to quit. Man, you just need to stop that stuff. You need to just cut them loose. You need to just turn that man loose. You need to just leave that woman alone. You see, but the things that have a hold on people are far more superior than the mortal man. So he don't have the power to override a demon. But his faith in the Most High brings him through a process of growth to where he understands that that thing is there for a reason. It is there to groom you. It is there to teach you. It is there to instruct you. And it is there to increase your faith as you walk on through it. And if you're the type of person that you have shame because of the places that you have been in your life and the areas that you have been victimized or the areas that you have been conquered by your flesh and things that you ain't had the power to overcome, if you walk around ashamed of those things, not only will you won't get the wisdom that the Most High means for you to get, but you'll live a victorious life, because you'll spend your life hiding, unable to, come face to face with what it is that you're dealing with. So let's go verse 20. We want to show you that even when we fall victims to sin, which is really to fall victim to a demon, that God has a purpose for that. So let's show you that, because he reigns and rules over all things, even demons. And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said, on this manner, and another said, on that manner. Then there came forth a spirit that stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade Ahab to fall in battle at Ramoth Gilead. And the Lord said unto him, how shall you do this? And he said, I will go forth and become a lying spirit in the mouth of his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him, prevail also, and go forth and do so. So the Most High uses spirits in whatever capacity he desires to use a spirit or a demon to buffet a man's flesh. There's a purpose and there's a reason behind it. So I told you that we like to shoot for the two greatest things in this world, where demons take their strongholds on men without them understanding that it's a demon. One is through sexuality. Sex outside of marriage is one of the number one ways, one of the greatest strongholds that a demon lays hold on a man or a woman. Causes their flesh to fall completely in love with something that is against God and something that is no good for them. And they just see it as a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They don't see it as a demon. But anytime that you get connected to something and it's got such a hold on you that it causes you to go against God is not that man, is not that woman. It is a demon. And it's only when you can see a thing for what it really is. When you see that it's a demon, then you understand that's like a monster in your life, and you realize that that's an enemy, and now you can develop what it takes to kill it or destroy it. But until you see a thing for what it really is, you'll be powerless to do anything. So we like to use that example. And then the other example that we like to use is the issue of drugs, because it's bigger than a joint. It's bigger than a Primo. It's bigger than a crack. It's bigger than a Theus pill. It's bigger than a Molly. It's bigger than heroin. It's bigger than opioids. It's bigger than any of those things, because those are the things that the demon uses to bind us up in the flesh. And these things bring such pleasure to the flesh that we find ourselves unable to detach from them. And we don't see them as demons. We see them as places to where we can run and hide. We see them places when I got pressure, I don't want to deal with the world, or I got trouble, or this just happened. We see them as places that we can run and hide. They're almost like our friends, because we can't see it for what it really is. But when you can see a thing for what it really is, understand that it's coming to destroy your life, and understand it's coming to kill you. Then you can develop the strength that it takes to kill it. So why does the Most High allow these things to happen? Once again, what can I do now that I'm under pressure? Was always taught to give my best, never settle for less. Although the weight of the world seemed like it's on my shoulder, but can't break the heart of a soldier, got me getting colder. I hear these voices in my head tugging me persistent. Sometimes I think I should pray, but feel I'm too distant. Or will he listen? I heard the Lord don't hear no sin of prayer, but recognize your time of visitation when it's there. No man can come to the Father unless the Spirit draw him. Visions of Christ when he died, I cried when I saw him. Mutilated with the thorns in his head would have been me. Seen the nails in his hands as he bled, should have been me. Lord, help me, cause temptations knocking at my door. I started with a little sin, then I watched it grow. Now it's now I can't control it. It's too strong. Now it's controlling me. I wish to break away free, but it keeps holding me. Maybe the lust of the world the reason for my treason, but the pleasure of sin lasts only for a season. And dear God, could you please help me understand how can sin be so wrong and so fundamental? And why didn't you just kill Satan when he wasn't true? But then again, who am I to try to question you? That's the crying out of the individual who would find themselves held as a hostage or in love. I can't even say held as a hostage. Because when you're held as a hostage, that means something's holding you against your will. But when you're falling in love, it's a constant choice for you to hang on. You see? So we use those things as our greatest examples, because these seems to be the areas that men and women alike fall in love with. And many brothers have fallen in love with drugs that led them to their death. Many brothers have fallen in love with drugs that led them to the penitentiary. Many people have fallen in love with a thing that came and destroyed the whole house, destroyed the marriage, destroyed the relationship with the children, destroyed the job, destroyed the house, destroyed everything. Many people have fallen in love with things that became a destructive force in their life, and they only seen the thing. Man, I was out there, I was on that end. You wasn't on that end. You just didn't know. It was a demon that was doing that. By bringing you something to attach to your flesh that will become so pleasurable to you that you will have no desire to release it. So what we want to see is that even these are life scenarios that we are using, because we're dealing with real life over here. We don't deal with religion. We deal with everyday life, everyday issues, and everyday pressure and circumstances that people face on a daily basis. And we're also dealing with wisdom And so this is going to be a crazy video. I can tell you, this is going to be a crazy video. It's going to be a crazy video. And it ain't going to be nowhere in the world for me to explain what needs to be explained if the Spirit don't give me the grace to do so. But I'm trustful and I'm hopeful. So we see that the Most High uses spirits. So if you have fallen as a victim, and you might be saying, that's me now. Since you pointed that out, I'm the one that's in love with the demon. That's me right now. I can't break away. But we're going to show you that wherever you at, that demon is being used by the Most High to bring you into wisdom. Now let's go. I'm going to give you one more example. Let me give you one more example. Boy, if y'all hang around today, I'm telling you, this is going to be flame. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16. The sin of Judah is written with the pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. That's Elder Emmanuel when he's quoting out of Jeremiah. You see? See, Judah had fallen in love with demons. And anytime you fall in love with a demon takes you away from the Most High Heavenly Father's righteous standard of living. So anything that takes you away from the Most High's righteous standard of living, it's a demon. It's not the thing that you're doing. 1 Samuel. Yep, that was it. We're on 1 Samuel now. And these are just your examples to show you that the Most High know exactly where every person is when it comes to sin. And that ultimately he will be using those things that we face or fall into for our own betterment. If we can see them for what they really are and understand that there's valuable lessons that he means for us to learn while we are traveling through this particular area. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 14. First Samuel chapter 16, verse 14. And it reads here, I'm going to read two verses. I'm going to read three verses. It said, verse 13 said, Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him, and in the midst of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and God sent an evil spirit from the Lord to trouble him. And Saul's servant said to him, Behold now, an evil spirit from God is troubling you. So now you see that the Most High is the one that controls the demons to get his will done. You see, and in this case, the evil spirit or the demon was sent to Saul by God to trouble him and to torment him, to make way for the one that God was choosing. Now, right? So with that, what we wanted to show you is that God uses these demons in the earth to do his bidding The same way that he uses the pure spirit in the earth to do his bidding. All spirits have been made subject to the Most High. So why am I saying this? This should be encouraging to every brother and sister who have ever went through anything. While you dealing with many of your people out here that teach you that when you connect yourself to God, you don't find yourself in the sin and you moving into righteousness and you all this. They feeding you a crock of junk. And most of your brothers talking like that, they don't have nothing but book knowledge and head knowledge. Because wisdom comes through life experiences. And when God get ready to drive wisdom into your life, then guess what? There is a demon that's going to be attached to that will drag your life into some place to where you will start praying, to where you'll start trusting God, to where you'll start weeping and mourning over your sins and all of that. So we want to encourage some brothers right now, because now we're about to deal with the purpose of all these different situations that we find ourselves in that don't look good. And we're going to start right out the gate with the hardest punch. Because I tell you, one of the things that don't look good to people in this world is when they see a man that handles the Bible and handles the scripture sink and fall into a place that's far worse than they have ever been in. They cannot take that. They cannot deal with that because they feel like the preacher, he shouldn't even have no problems. He say he loves God, so he should have the power to just avoid every circumstance. But that's the thinking of a man. That's the thinking of a man. We read in the Testament of Solomon that in the Testament of Solomon, let's pull that up and go show you. We're going to walk through this lesson. I'm not going to rush. We're going to walk through this. We're going to walk right on through there. Okay, well, I'm going to paraphrase because for some odd reason my iPad, let me check my settings, make sure my Wi-Fi is connected. Okay, that's what it is. My Wi-Fi ain't connected. Okay. Okay, so let's walk through this. Yeah, let's walk through this. Now, if we go to the Testament of Solomon, you see, we can pull up the Testament of Solomon. Now, listen at this. Now, this is one of the little children who was the children of one of the artisans that's helping Solomon them build the temple, start growing weak and thin. And Solomon couldn't figure out why, seeing how he got paid good, and he gives him a double portion of food. So the little boy tells him that after they get through working, it's a demon, or Nias, a demon, comes and then takes half of his money and then takes half of his food away and then begin to suck his thumb. And because of that, he grows weak and he grows thin. So now Solomon goes to the Most High to pray on behalf of this child concerning this demon. And said when Solomon heard this, he entered into the temple. He said, and I prayed with all my soul night and day that the demon might be delivered into my hands and that I might gain authority over him. And it came about through my prayer. Graces were given to me from the Lord Sabaoth by Michael, his archangel. And he brought me a little ring having the seal consisting of an engraved stone. And he said unto me, Take, O Solomon, king, the son of David, take the gift which the Lord God sent to thee, the highest Sabaoth, and with it you shall lock up all the demons of earth, male and female, and with their help thou shalt build the temple. See, you got to get your mind right. You got to get your mind right. With their help, with the help of the demons, you shall build the temple. You see, Solomon didn't have the wisdom at this point. He had prayed that God would give him wisdom to govern Israel, when he prayed that God gave him wisdom, God gave him demons. How many people you think want wisdom if they understood that in order to get wisdom, God have to give you demons first? You see, because the demons attach themselves to your flesh, and then your flesh drags your life into places that are not good, or they seemingly not good. A demon will drag your life into places to where, you know what, you don't even want to wake up in the morning. But guess what? That's where men's wisdom come from. Men's wisdoms come from being in circumstances that cause them to seek the Most High's face, cause them to have to trust God because they are powerless to overcome or destroy a particular thing. Solomon, the wisest man in earth. Why do you think there's a lack of wise people in the world? Because when we have the mindset of avoidance and we spend our life dodging circumstances, you ain't getting no wisdom like that. Now let me show you what it took for Solomon to become wise, and maybe some of the things that we have been through, we can understand the purpose that we had to go through them and the reason behind them. So we start with the hardest punch, because as we said, when a man handles the Bible, man, look, people think he's supposed to be separated from everybody else. You stay over there. Let us do the partying. Let us do the kicking. Let us do the fornicating. Let us be the ones committing the adultery. Let us do the drugs. Let us do all of this stuff out here in a world that pleases our flesh. But you stay over there locked up until the point comes to where we need you. Well, let me tell you something, baby. If that was the case with the preacher, when you got to the place to where you needed to hear a word of God and you need to hear God's wisdom, and he been locked up over there, he couldn't help you. When Solomon prayed, God didn't give him wisdom. He gave him demons. And out of those circumstances that his life would face, the wisdom would come out of those things. And you understand this. And we start looking at this. Let's read it out of his own mouth. Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 12. I, the preacher, was king over all of Jerusalem. His prayer was that God would give him wisdom, so that he may judge righteously between all the people of Jerusalem. What does it mean to judge a situation? To judge a situation means that there is some difference. There is some rebuttal. There is some refuting. There is some combativeness between parties. And when you're a king over a whole nation of people, and you're responsible for righteous judgment, that means that you have to have an understanding of almost every situation on every level of life to be able to pass righteous judgment on a thing. How you going to pass righteous judgment on a thing if you've never been through nothing? But this is where they want to put the preacher in the box. But you don't understand that most people, most men who handle the Bible, like such as Elder Emmanuel, most of the men that handle the Bible, we have had what onlookers would call some of the most rot gut, grimy, hypocritical, no good, trouble getting into. We have had some of the most terrible, what look to people as some of the terriblest lives. They said, because no, ain't no man of God, no man with the Bible supposed to be doing that, supposed to be doing that. Well, it takes wisdom to judge a particular thing, and it takes wisdom to light the way out of darkness. But how can you light the way out of a dark place when you ain't never been in there? So he said, I, the preacher, was the king over all of Jerusalem. He said, I gave my heart to seek and search out wisdom concerning all things. You hear that? All things. He had to know about all things. The good, the bad, the indifferent, and the ugly. He had to know about all of it because he was responsible for bringing righteous judgment amongst the people. No matter what type of situation, what type of sin, what type of fallout that was happening, he was the wise person that was supposed to be able to bring righteous judgment and lead the way out and make those people's lives better. He said, I gave my heart to search out concerning all things that are done under heaven. This was a sore travail. This sore travail God had given to the sons of man to be exercised with. This was a sore travail. When you start giving your heart to seek out wisdom concerning anything that men can do under the sun, he said, this is a sore travail that God gives to men to be exercised. The good, the bad, the indifferent, and the ugly. The roller coaster ride of life is classified as a sore travail, and it is a gift that's given by God for men to exercise for the sake of being able to be equipped with God's wisdom to deal with other people who find themselves in situations. Everybody will not have wisdom. How can he get wisdom except he be given an opportunity of leisure? He who has little business shall become wise. Have you ever noticed that you have to have an opportunity of leisure to fall into a bad place and be hooked on drugs? You can't be bound by no job. You can't be bound by this and bound by that and bound by that. You have to have an opportunity of leisure so that you can be devoted or dedicated to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Out of these situations, God give wisdom. You see, there are some people that will never get wisdom. You know why? Because their lives is already consumed. How can he get wisdom? Who is occupied with plowing and whose talk is of bullocks from morning to evening. He's out there in the field plowing. And in his conversation, only thing he can talk about is the ox. How can that man get wisdom? How can the man get wisdom? How can the blacksmith get wisdom when he's preoccupied all day long and the hammer and the anvil and the sound of the noise and the heat from the fire is in his ear and his flesh wastes away, and he does this from sun up to sundown? How can he get wisdom when he's consumed? How can the carpenter get wisdom when he's preoccupied with building and fashioning? How can the potter get wisdom when he's occupied with the potter's clay and the potter's wheel and the furnace and putting together the nice vessels, and their whole life is consumed? They can't get wisdom. They will not understand parables, and they cannot stand in judgment. And they will not be able to disperse righteous counsel among people. They will maintain the state of the world, but they will not be able to disperse wisdom when it comes to the spiritual situations, the spirituality that's behind the situations that brothers and sisters fall into. Only those that have been given an opportunity of leisure will be given wisdom. And there are not many of us that take advantage of the leisure time that God gives us to study the word, to go through different things, to seek out this or seek out that. There are not many people that's going to get wisdom. Because already right now, more people are concerned about getting up, going to their job every day, paying their bills and buying a house and buying a car and consumed with all of the things in the world. They will not get no wisdom. So he said this was a sore travail that was given as a gift to men to be exercised while we live our life. And what it is it's balance. It's balance. He said, I've seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, everything is meaningless. And it's a vexation of the spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. You see, you look right now. You look right now. You know, men are going all out trying to make something crooked turn straight. I don't care what you do. If you was born a man, you're going to be a man to the day you die. You was born a woman, you're going to be a woman to the day you die. You see, that which is crooked cannot be made straight. However God made a thing, that's how a thing is going to be, and ain't nothing that no man can do. These are some of the things that Solomon started to understand while he was giving his heart to seek out and search out wisdom. It's got nothing to do with no alphabets, no LGBTQ, no nothing. This got something to do with God, the author and the finisher of creation and life itself. Whatever he makes a thing to be, it's unchangeable. It's sealed in stone. Man can do whatever he wants to do, whatever he chooses to do. But it's not going to work to his benefit. Let's see if I can get this phone right. Sometimes that thing just... bear with me 1 second. Let me get that because I don't want the battery to go dead on me before the video gets through. So let's see if it's charging. Nope. What I really need is a new phone. Oh, I know why it ain't charging. It ain't plugged up. Yep. Let's see, we plugged up now. Okay, we plugged up now. Okay, now we hot. Okay, so he said, I've seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, everything is vanity. And vanity means everything is meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Here we go, but we ain't even got started yet. We ain't even got started yet. Shoot, we ain't even got started yet. Everything is meaningless. It is a vexation in your spirit. It's a vexation in your spirit to know that no matter what you do in this life, it's going to end up meaningless because you got to die. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. You see, there are many things in this world that are wanting. The dirt. We were made out of the dust of the earth, yet we want to be pure and we want to be righteous. Unable to identify with our own Adamic nature. Created out of dust, which is worthless and filthy and vile. But we want to be righteous. Brothers that are ignorant want wisdom. People that are broke want money. You see, there's an endless supply of things that are wanting. They're innumerable. He says, so I commune with my own heart, saying, lo, I have come to a great estate, and I've gotten more wisdom than all they that were before me in Jerusalem. Yeah, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and foolishness. You see that? He gave his heart to know wisdom and madness and foolishness. Why? Because in the life that you live in, you can see madness in your world that you can't understand. You can see foolishness in your world that you can't understand. How can you identify with the person that have gone mad in this world? And how can you identify with the fool in this world unless you strategically go into a particular thing with the mindset, I got to find out what is it that causes a fool to be a fool, and what is it that this fool finds in this particular thing? What is it that causes the madness and causes people to act the way that they act? It don't mean that I'm literally going to become mad. But when you're chasing after what Solomon had, Solomon needed wisdom to be able to govern God's people. So he had to be calm and have an understanding of every level of life that people could be on. And oftentimes, there is a hand-picked person, hand-picked people out of every generation who wear the title or the label as preachers that fit into this particular category. They are ones that can be found falling down into the most mad places on the planet. They are the ones that can be found falling down into most foolish places in the planet. And why do they do it? When the world looks at them, the world sees a hypocrite. But what the world don't understand, that unless this person who is chasing after wisdom can enter into these places and glean an understanding and sink far lower than the people that are already there, there is no way possible for them to get the help that they need to come out of a thing. He said, I gave myself over to know wisdom and to know madness. It wasn't enough just to me to have wisdom when it came down to everything that was good. Them that are whole don't need a physician. Them that are sick are the ones that need a doctor. So you have to give yourself over, or you have to be able to understand that whatever circumstance that you have fallen in, no matter how sick it seems, there is a purpose for it. He said, for I understand in much wisdom is much grief. Why is that? Because the demons are the ones that have the wisdom. And the demons attach things to your flesh that drive your life into places that cause you to grieve. Oh, Father, I don't want to be here. Why I got to keep doing this? How did I even get in this place? Oh, this is killing me. Oh, it's work. You know what? But you merciful. Be merciful to me. Be kind for me. Create in me a clean heart. Renew a right spirit in me. Help me, Father. Teach me whatever it is that you need me to know. You see, that's coming by way of a demon. It's coming by way of what this particular thing is causing. The more wise you get, the more grievous you become. You become grievous in different ways. You become grievous because of the circumstance that you have to go through to get the wisdom that you're desiring to have. And you also become grievous because your brothers and sisters don't understand. And when you come out with that wisdom, and you done been through that fire, and you come out still smelling like smoke, but spitting flames of fire of wisdom to somebody that ain't never been through nothing, you become grievous. Oh, there's a crackhead. Who do you think he gonna talk? Look at what he just been on. Oh, you been out for 2 months now. You're gonna be somebody's voice. You're gonna tell somebody. See, it make you grievous when people can't comprehend what you just got blessed with from the circumstance that you was in. And as you increase in knowledge, you increase in sorrow. Because now you got the knowledge and the know-how by experience of a particular situation. Now you got the knowledge and the know-how to deal with your brothers and sisters in ways that'll raise them up. Oh, man, don't nobody want to hear that, man. Don't nobody want to hear that Bible stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't, See, people can't receive, or they immediately reject something that almost cost you your life to get. And you went through that. It almost cost you your life to get something that was going to become a benefit to them, only for you to get it and find that they don't want it. No, much knowledge. You increase in knowledge, you increase in sorrow. And Solomon, he was balanced. As much knowledge as he had sorrow. As much wisdom as he had grief. As much wisdom as he had madness. You look at the life of Solomon. Solomon is writing the book of Ecclesiastes, and from the book of Ecclesiastes, you're dealing with the totality of life, from the time that a person is born until the time that he has to die, and everything that's in between there. Chapter 2, he says, so I said in my heart, now that I understand madness and wisdom, and I done got wisdom, and now that I've went through these circumstances that have grieved me much, and now that I've acquired this knowledge of a particular thing that have brought me to utter sorrow, he said, the next thing I'm going to do, now I said in my heart, I will now go and prove thee with mirth. He said, now I'm going to prove thee with mirth. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going out to kick it. I'm about to go and get on the pub crawl. I'm going to every club in town. I'm about to kick it. I'm about to kick it sky high. Now I'm going to have me some enjoyment. Now I'm going to prove thee with mirth. And therefore, enjoy pleasure. Why? Because he had to come to a place to where he could understand that he could be able to tell a man, you know what? Pleasure is only but momentary. But so many people are caught up in pleasure. It's you chasing after the wind. It only lasts for a moment. He says, so now I got to go out here and I got to do the same thing. I got to see what these people see. Because there's a balance of life even back then. You know, you got the wedding festivities, you got people putting together feasts, you got all these things where mirth, where people are being brought in, much wine and all of that. He said, I got to go and see. Now let me go and have me some fun. But I'm going in there to have me some fun with my wisdom intact. So that I can see what is it that's so good that these people get out of this particular thing that they're willing to sacrifice God through the course of their whole life to chase after momentary pleasure, mirth. He said, and behold, I had fun. Oh, I was kicking it. Oh, I felt good. He said, but it was meaningless. It was vanity too. He said, because after the party was over, I was right back to where I was at. Face to face with the same struggles, with the same issues, with the same demons chasing me. It was right back to the same thing. It was only a momentary pleasure. I was having fun for the couple of hours that we was in there, but you know what? It was right back to normal. He said, I got to go through these things so that I can be able to tell men the things that are good for them to do while they live their life up under the sun. He said, and I said to myself, laughter. Man, it ain't nothing like a good hearty laugh. He said, it is mad. It's incomprehensible. It's mad. Because we can have a good hearty laugh, but after the laugh, how have the laugh impacted the life that you're going to live? It made you feel good for a moment. So Solomon said, laughter, it is madness. And mirth, what does it? What is it that's about being out and having fun? What is it that causes you to be in a place to where you having fun? Can anybody answer that question? Can anybody answer that? What is it about being out and being out partying and things like that? What is it at the root that causes you to have so much fun? Because see, this shows you that Solomon still was chasing after wisdom. You have to find out what's at the root of it. He said, what is it? He said, but I ain't stopped there. Well, there's still some other things that men are doing while they live their life under the sun that I have to be exposed to. You see? Because the average person can't identify with things that they ain't been through. A person that ain't never smoked, ain't never drank, ain't never done it, you can't identify with nobody that had no serious drug addiction. You couldn't even come close to identifying with anything that a heroin addict experiences. A person that have always had a silver spoon in their mouth and had money and never had to worry about rent and lights and gas and water and food and stuff. You can't identify with nobody that have been in poverty. You can't identify with a sister on welfare and Section 8. I'm not talking about the rot gut grimy sisters. I'm talking about the sister that genuinely doing everything in her power to take care of the responsibility that she has, just don't have enough money. You can't identify with that. Everybody want to be watching TV and taking their cues from the people in Hollywood and all. Them people can't identify with you no more than you can identify with them. Because as Solomon stated before, as he stated before, over here, that is wanting cannot be numbered. You want something that you can't even identify with. He says, so now, because there's still different levels in life. Now, you talk about people that say that they want to do God's will. I just want to serve God. I just want to serve God. How would you feel if God said, well, okay, you need to have some wisdom. So I'm about to send this demon to connect something to your flesh so that you can have addiction for the next 5 years. I'm going to let you lose your marriage. I'm going to let you lose your house. I'm going to let you lose your car. I'm going to let your relationship with your children be broken and everything. I wonder, how would you feel if God came right out the gate and told you that? I guarantee you 99.9% of the people that declare that they want to serve God would change their mind. So he said, so next, I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine. He said, I'm going to give myself to wine. I'm without boundaries. I'm going all the way in. I'm drinking wine until my eyes are bloodshot red, until I can't stand up straight, until I'm falling down. I'm drinking wine until I'm holding both sides of the toilet, throwing my face up, because this is one of the conditions that people are in and living their life like this every single day under the sun. And I need to know whether that's a good place for men to be and whether that's a good thing for men to do while they live their life. Oh, and the whole time, baby, you got to understand that this ain't your brother off the local street corner. This is your preacher. This is the one that you're accustomed to seeing with the Bible in his hand. This is the one that you're accustomed to seeing, the one with the Bible in his hand. He's the one that have entered into the pleasure of fornication. He's the one that have entered into the pleasure of committing adultery. He is the one that have entered into the pleasure of being on crack, on opioids, on Ritalins, on black beauties, on chapstick, on cocaine, on hash. He is the one that have entered into place of being on heroin and all these different things. And he got the Bible in his hand, and he ain't hiding the Bible. And how do you deal with a brother that shows up with the Bible in his hand, and only to find that brother in one of the vilest situations that you can possibly be in? How do you deal with him then? How can you handle the preacher then? Oh, this wasn't your average brother. And all of Israel is looking at Solomon. All of Israel is looking at Solomon when he's bringing the foreign women, and they in an uproar. This is against Israel. This is against God. And you doing these things. This is against God. And you doing these things. This is against God. How can you be doing this, Solomon? This is against God. And God have mercy on him, because God making him the wisest man based on what he asked. And the whole time, he ain't hiding it. He said, the preacher, over all of Jerusalem, He said, I bust right through the bar. I bust right through the bar and start drinking up everything I could get my hands on. He said, you know why? Because every day I walk past this same place and I see the same men and the same women in this place every day. And they ain't here every day for a reason. And I need to know what they get out of this. Is this a good thing for them to be doing while they live in their life? I got to see. So I got to give myself to a thing so that I can see. And when I see, and you keep this in mind, you see some people, it's just like when you get, you see, I mean, look at myself. That's the only thing I can speak for is myself. You know, when I used to get ready to try new things, I would be conscious in my mind. I'd be like, you know, I don't know, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to see how it works. I'm going to see, you know, what comes out of it. I'd be conscious. Because while I'm trying it, my mind is already homed in on a place that I want to be conscious, because I need to be conscious of how it's making me feel, and I need to be conscious of whether there's pleasure coming out of it. I need to be conscious of the fact is that if this is something that I ain't going to do no more. Because there was some drugs that I dealt with that when I went in, I was skeptical, and I'd say, but you know what, I'm going to be conscious before I do this. And I remember when I first smoked water, that's what everybody call it. They called it Sherm back in the 70s when I first came across it. And I was conscious, because you see everybody doing things. You're like, man, what they get out of it? You know, I'm gonna try it. But I was always a curious kid, but I was a conscious kid too, because I wasn't trying to do nothing that was going to destroy me. I loved living. Man, I get that water and, you know, my consciousness, I was like, shh, this ain't no good for me to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, I hung on for a minute because of the popular thing, but man, I remember one time I hit that water. I was surrounded by about 3,000 people. I walked 10 feet. Boy, I couldn't even told you what my name was, you know. But in my mind was still conscious. Man, I got this drug in me and I'm off the chain and I can't bring myself out, you know what I mean? But I know that this is something I don't ever want to go into this again. I found a friend of mine, seen a friend of mine. Out of all the people, I done lost faith, lost contact with knowing anybody. Couldn't even told you what my name was. That's how powerful that drug was. And I seen a van that was familiar to me. And when I ran up to it, I said, man, I'm on that water, man. I'm on that water. I can't be out here like this and make no fool of myself. This ain't for me. He said, get in the van and go to sleep. I crawled up in that van, man. I disappeared from everybody. I crawled up in that van, and I ain't touched it. When I came down, I never touched it again. I came out of that armed with wisdom. For all them brothers that was smoking water, getting stuck to the pavement, smoking water, stripped down butt naked, and start running down the street. Smoking that water, the sister smoking that water. We start calling it the icky, sticky, butt naked, because the first thing people want to do is undress. And I'm saying, oh, I couldn't do that. I can't do that. I got to hide. Because I've tried this. I gave myself to know what this does and whether or not it was something good for people to do. Because that's what we seen people doing. And you understand, that wasn't good for a man to do while he lived his life. I understood that fornication, it wasn't good for a man to do while he lived his life under the sun. Yeah, it had pleasure. It brought pleasure. But the pleasure ultimately leads your life to a place of destruction. Yeah, I understand what comes out of an adulterous affair. Journey into all of these different places, because that's what you see men doing while they living their life up under the sun. And then, yeah, it's pleasurable. It's exciting. It's all of that. It's pleasurable. It's exciting. You hide and you got adrenaline running through your veins. You got new panties to pull off, new bras to unsnap. You know what I mean? It's exciting. That pleasure right there leads your life to destruction when you start losing everything. or the same things start happening to you. You see, when the same things start happening to you, that's God giving you the power now to conquer what is an enemy that is coming against you. The thing that you once called pleasure, it gets you to a certain place, and then you can see it for what it really is, because of what's the pleasure is gone now. Here come the pain. It helps you see it for what it really is. And brothers and sisters, I'm talking about we're dealing with real life. We're dealing with real everyday situations. Know what it was like. First time I took that hit off of that Primo. Just the same way I did with the water. Let me see. I'm going to check it out and I'm going to see what it got going and see what I feel like. You know what I mean? And, you know, took that mug and I'm like, oh, I've reached the pinnacle. I've fallen in love and I don't want nothing else. I don't want no weed. I don't need nothing with this, baby. Just give me this and I'm cool. I don't need nothing else. The pleasure. The pleasure. And God sent that demon there, and then he attached that pleasure to you, and now he began to take you through different phases of your life that causes wisdom to break out from your circumstances. Oh, it's so pleasurable. I done looked up, oh, and now I'm in pain. I'm in pain. What happened to all my money? I just had $700 yesterday. Where all my money go? I ain't even paid my bills or nothing. I ain't took care of none of the business I was supposed to take care of. And what happened? And then when you start, your life start being destroyed, and you got more pain than pleasure, God shows you the thing for what it really is, and he gives you the power to kill it. But until you see a thing as an enemy, you won't kill it. Solomon had to go through these things. All men and women that desire to be wise, God gives them an opportunity of leisure so that they can go through these things and come out with greater experience. So Solomon said, I gave my heart to no wine. Let me give myself the wine. He said, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom at the same time. Because while I'm drunk, my mind is still conscious of what I said before I went into it. And I'm like, dang, I'm feeling good for a minute. Man, that wine's feel pretty good, man. I see why these guys do that, man. They listening to that music. Oh, I feel so bubbly on the inside. Give me another glass of wine. Give me another glass. Give me another glass. Now, my eyes have beholden strange woman. When I first walked in there, I was like, ooh, she's ugly. You know what I mean? After 6 glasses of wine, my eyes start beholding strange woman. That woman that was once ugly now started to look pleasing to me. And I started looking at all these different things that I had no right to. And this is what wine do. He said, now I can see what make a man get up every day and gravitate back toward this same particular thing. It's something that's taking place when my mind is up under this wine that's not taking place when I'm in a sober state of consciousness. And I need to try to get the pleasure back that I was getting. But the pleasure is only momentary. And there'll come a time to where you'll find there is no pleasure in it anymore. There's only pain. There's only pain. And then you realize I got a problem. That's what Solomon had to go through to be wise. Hear me, brothers and sisters. You say you want to be wise? You understand that God don't think like men. When God makes ministers a gift to the body because of the different areas and the different situations of life that men are in, and the eyes of the Lord are in every place beholding the good and the evil. That means that God have already chosen people that he'll connect the same demon to just so that they can be in the same place, so that his eyes can be in there. His eyes are in there. His eyes are in every place beholding the good and the evil. He said, so I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom, and to lay hold of foolishness. He said, and to lay hold of foolishness. Because if it's one thing that'll bring you to foolishness, is when we start sitting around drinking and drinking alcohol and drinking that wine. That thing is going to bring us to a place of foolishness. He said, I'm going all the way in. I'm going all the way in. I'm going to give my whole self over to it. I ain't even going to look like King Solomon by the time I get through drinking. I'm going to give myself, and I'm going to look completely like a fool. I'm going to look worse than the ones that been here doing it already. I'm going to look worse than the ones that been here doing it already. He said, and to lay hold on foolishness, till I might see that good, what was good for the sons of man, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. He said the reason I was doing these things is because I had to be able to see whether these things were good for men to do while they lived their life up under the sun. And he went through more things than that. But what I wanted to tell you, when Solomon prayed for wisdom, God sent him demons. And if you start praying for wisdom, you can best believe God gonna send demons. And so with demons, your circumstances is your demons is represented by the uncomfortable circumstances that you're going to face. And if you go off and you become ashamed of that, right to this day, I deal with it. I deal with it. Right to this day. Right to this day. Because see, I got brothers. I come from the street. I got brothers on the street. I got brothers that's still in the club. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody that see me sitting up there preaching a sermon and this and that and the other. But you know what? Hey, they might see me sitting there with one of my brothers. Hey, you know what? Give everybody a shot. And I'm sitting there. Well, the shot gonna come my way too. Well, you think I'm gonna take the shot too, right along with everybody else. Even though in my mind, I'm saying, I know I can't do what these dudes do. These people do this every day. I can't do that. But I will be conscious of what comes from it. Because, man, if they do it too many times, I got to go. Because I'm like, I can't do that. I don't like being drunk. I've been drunk. I've already been drunk. Walking, can't talk right. You know what I'm saying? My sister used to say, she say, boy, you just turn into a happy drunk. When you get drunk, you just happy and everything. You just bubbly. You can't stop smiling. And I said, but you know what? At last end, it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. When you wake up and you got a headache as big as the parking lot, and your stomach is queasy, and you know you got things to do, and it feel like that you walking sideways. You see, when the other half of the pleasure shows up, you can see a thing for what it really is. Yep. So these are some of the things that, and see, the thing is that we have to get out of that churchified mindset. There's particular people that God used. If I went down through the line and pulled out every man that God used, that we honor today, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Obadiah. If we go through there and we take a magnascope, a magnifying, a microscope to them guys' lives, you'll see what I'm talking about. In order for them to lay hold on what they had, you know what? God sent demons. And demons are excruciatingly painful and uncomfortable circumstances that the Most High puts you in for your own benefit to learn. And while the people are looking at you because they think you supposed to be such and such and such and such, what they don't understand is that if you wasn't being found in places that were worse than where they were at, when they got to those places where they needed help, there would be no available help for them. One of the things that I do, I do this more in my ministry than anything, and that is funerals. When somebody dies, that seems to be the place that the Most High say, you know what, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to put you right here. Every time somebody died, and every time somebody's mourning, and every time somebody got the, I'm going to put you right there. I had my brother die in my house, on my floor. I had sent my wife and my sister upstairs because something in me knew he was dead. Well, I knew they couldn't handle it. My brother died on my floor, and he had a seizure, and his face was laying on the heater vent. I was in a circumstance then, and my gas was off during the wintertime. And because my gas was off, his face didn't burn up. But I sent him upstairs, and I rolled my brother over. And his face had line vents in there. It was smashed. It had the vents of the line. I couldn't let nobody see my brother like that. I turned my brother over, and I began to fix his face back and get his stuff back right. You know what I mean? And once I got all of those lines out of his face and got his face back right, then I was able to call everybody and tell them, you know, big bro is gone. You know what I'm saying? How did it get like that? How did it get like that? When my Ace Boone Coon partner got killed and got robbed, I was right there at the funeral home to make sure that his hair was laid like it normally was while he was living, to make sure that his beard and everything was trimmed up. When my auntie passed away and so many other people passed away, that I was right there to deal with the death and with the dead body, and always the one being encouraging. How do you think I got there? I'll tell you how I got there. I was a 10-year-old boy standing in front of a casket, looking at the cold, dead, lifeless body of his mother, completely unaffected, no emotion, no tears, just in my mind, just there. I hear everything going on around me, and I was the only person standing there. A kid. This is my mama we talking about. I'm her pride and joy. She is the best thing in my life. To see her laying in a casket, lifeless, never going to see my mother again, that done something to me. God was sending me through something right then and there that will cause me to be doing what I'm doing right now. I would hear people, oh, he's such a strong young boy. Oh, he's holding it together. Oh, he's doing all right. Because they didn't see no tears and they didn't see no emotion and no nothing come out of me. And so they counted me as a strong kid. But I was just a little boy being prepared to do something in this life that will come later. And as I start growing up, as we lose loved ones and as we lose childhood friends and all these, I would always be the person that people gravitated toward. I would always be the person that people call. I would always be the person that was able to sit there and then just be calm and cool and then make sense out of it. God builds everybody a certain type of way. The circumstances and the situations that we go through in life, God do not send them on us to destroy us. He send them up on us so that we can go through those things and then acquire wisdom. And when we come out of that, we are able to encourage our brothers and sisters who might be there If it were not for the fact of me standing there as a 10-year-old kid in front of the cold, lifeless body of his mother, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. My situation is different. I have been to go through the fornication and been to go through the adulterous affairs, the loss of family, the loss of wife, the loss of separated from your children, have been through the crack addiction, the drug abuse, the cocaine, the crack, the water, and being in these things, going through losing everything, have been through those things already, but the wisdom that comes out of them, God don't send you through them so that you can be destroyed. And when we look at our brothers and sisters that are in these conditions, we need to understand that they are in reputation for wisdom. No man knows what the end of another man's life is going to be. Shouts out to you, DJ LS Flash. I had a beautiful time with y'all yesterday. You had me cracking up, boy. When I pulled up in front of the house, I was still laughing at you. See, no man knows what the end of another man's life gonna be. You see? So Solomon was wise like that. He had to go through all of those things just so that he can be able to identify what all of the different things that men would go through while they was living their lives under the sun. Because there'll come a time that the person that's on drugs can see a drug for the enemy that it really is and have a desire to beat it. And who better to help him beat it than one who have conquered and slayed that demon already. There'll come a time that a person who have been preoccupied with drinking every day to the point to where I just got to have a beer, I just got to have something. It will come a time to when they get a bad report from the doctor, you know what, you got to quit drinking. It's your liver's taking some hits. But you know, you find out that it ain't so easy. It's easier said than done. But who better to hook themselves up with than a person who have conquered a demon of alcoholism that can walk with the brothers. This is how you get 12-step programs put in order. This is how you get rehab situations put together. The rehab situation, the 12-step program, the marital program, all of these programs didn't just poof into thin air. Many times these programs were started by those who had been given wisdom as they came through these situations, through those hard, uncomfortable circumstances. And when they came out, they said, I'm going to dedicate my life to helping my brothers and sisters when they get to the point that they want to make a change. So we all living our life together. This ain't about religion. This is about real life. I just got the phone call yesterday that one of my nephews just got his face shot off. Y'all can only imagine what my niece is going through. I can only imagine that. You see? But this is a part of it. And Solomon was concerned about the things that men were doing while they was living their life up under the sun. He said, I need to know if these things are good for them to do or not. Because for everything that's not good for a man and a woman to do while they live in their life up under the sun, there has to be a level of wisdom to guide them out of it. And he was the preacher. He was the preacher, and he was the one that was over Israel, but he was the one that had to go out and get fall down sloppy drunk just so he can be able to identify with what the other person was captivated by or held in bondage to. He had to go through those things. And when he went through them, he said, oh no, this is not good for men to do while they live their life up under the sun. But God gave me wisdom from the experiences. He gives us all wisdom from the experiences that we've been through. And some things we come out of, we never go back into. We never have a desire to go back into them because we have that wisdom. And anybody that's going through those things, we become a great benefit to them because we can impart wisdom. And wisdom is greater than somebody just talking, because somebody just talking, they never been through nothing. You can't tell nobody nothing. Can't tell nobody nothing. You see? So be careful. When you pray for wisdom, God gonna send demons. You see? And God sent the demons when Solomon prayed for wisdom. He said, I pray for wisdom. He said, I pray that God will do this. And God sent me this ring. And then he told me, I'm going to give you I'm going to connect you with all these demons. And these demons going to help you build. Them demons that helped me build my life. They helped me rebuild my life in a way that my life never was. The credit don't go to the demons. God uses the demons to bring us to a place to where he desires us to be. But the same way those demons, God allowed those demons to be used by Solomon to build the temple, God still allowing them same demons to torment our flesh and bring us to places to where we start looking at him. And because of what we've been through, it becomes the tools that we need to rebuild our life. Like I say, peace and blessings be upon all you brothers and sisters on today. This is indeed a great day to be alive. Day the Most High Heavenly Father made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.